It's teaching Thijs time.
Oh! Camera's freaking sideways, turn. You got it. You got it. Hello everyone, welcome back to America MTB, and today we're going to be starting a new series called Teaching Thijs, and we're going to teach him some new tricks. Today is how to whip. Okay, so as you can see in the last clip, Thijs, it has a little bit of a whip, but doesn't have the right technique. He's not turning the bars in his hips, and he's also not bringing the whip back. But the first step is going off the lip, so we're going to go focus on that now. Okay, so the first step is on the lip. Depending on which way you whip, you're going to want to carve and enter a little bit wider on that direction of the lip, because you're going to be transferring as you whip. So I whip to my left, for example, so I like to enter coming up on the left side and taking off around this area. You don't want to go right in the middle, because that's going to cause you to get transferred over a lot more, or you don't want to go way over on this side, because I'm going to end up over in the creek. So as I enter, I'm going to start coming off on this side of the lip, and as I take off right at the top of the lip, my bars are going to start to turn to bring the whip out. And if you whip the other direction, it's the same thing, but on the other side. You want to be on one side of the lip so you don't end up transferring. As you can see right here, you can see the two tire marks of me and Dante, who whip on different sides. There's one tire mark here, the other's here. That's where we whip. Okay, so the next step is bringing your bars out. Also, this is not my bike, this is Dante's bike. I ended up blowing out my shock yesterday, so I'm going to demonstrate on this bike. So the first step after you leave the lip is pulling your bars to the direction you whip. So I whip to my left. So I'm going to pull my bars and my hips to bring the whip out. So as I leave the lip, I'm carving off my direction, I'm pulling the bars, and I'm pushing my hips away from the landing. As I pull my hips away, the tail is going to come out. Right when I max out at where I'm comfortable whipping, I'm going to bring the bars and my hips back in to face the landing. And as I do that, my bike's going to start to come back. And that's how you bring back and to put out the whip. Oh, as you just saw in that last clip, I turned my hips out and the bars, but I didn't bring them back, which caused me to not be able to bring the whip back and fully land sideways on the landing. I also overcarved. As you can see on this lip, it is a pretty wide lip, but if you're going over here, which is where my tire mark was, I am going to end up way over there. And as you can see in the video, I landed over on this side of the landing. What you need to work on is finding the right spot on the lip to carve. Because if you carve too far over on the lip, you're going to do what I did. And if you carve too far over on the other side, you're going to end up way farther over. So you don't want to go just in the middle, but you definitely don't want to go too far, because that's what will happen. Also, as you can see in that clip, I pulled the bars and the bike out, but my hips didn't bring the bike back in, which caused me to do that. Bringing the bike back in is one of the most important aspects of doing a whip, because if you can't bring the bike back in, then the whip you're not going to land. But Thijs has never whipped a really big jump, and it's a lot different than whipping a small jump. The key aspects of whipping a larger jump is what I just explained. Your bars in your hips and bringing it back. If you're not able to bring it back, you will do what I did.
So on smaller jumps, if you don't bring your whip back, the consequences won't be as high and you'll probably roll away from it. But on a bigger jump, as Merrick showed, if you don't bring it back, your tire is just going to fling you back and you're probably going to crash. So the main thing on a big jump is start small, but bring it back and then work your way up.
So we're going to start with Thijs doing smaller whips, using his bars and his hips to bring the whip out and bring it back in. As you can see in that last clip, Thijs got the whip out, but on the first initial takeoff, he did not bring his bars out. He only used his hips. So next, Thijs is going to focus on that. Just like that, Thijs has now learned how to whip. All he has to do now is work on getting it bigger and better. And now we're going to play a couple clips of him getting it bigger and trying to over-exaggerate that motion to get the whip out farther.